All right, well, greetings and salutations, everybody out there in YouTube land. I'm your host once again, Dan Thornton. I want to thank you all for making a little time out of your day to join us here on Lions Talk Live. Here we are, Wednesday, and you know what? We're one day closer to free agency. I know there's a few things about that we probably want to talk about today, but as you could see from the thumbnail, today's video, I want to talk a little bit at least, among other topics, about the Detroit Lions head coach Dan Campbell, MCDC, Motor City Dan, whatever you want to call him. He's evolved a little bit during his time here with the Detroit Lions, and you know what? I think we need to take a moment and kind of analyze it. I'm sure most of you already saw some of the big headlines, the pressing notes, whatever you want to say from his press conference yesterday. Sorry about that. Trying to turn that thing down and off. All right, there we go. So I want to talk about how he has evolved and the fact that he brought up the end of the game as far as the NFC title game. Some of his one regret, I guess, basically forcing the team into using one of those timeouts when they went for it on the run instead of trying to throw the pass and preserve the timeout late in the game. I'm sure we all remember the moment because I know the broadcast team talked about it exponentially. And then, of course, in the days that followed the NFC title game loss, you had every analyst out there talking about going for it on fourth down, running and using one of your timeouts in the closing moments, et cetera, et cetera. But in all fairness to MCDC, I do want to say this. I think he has grown as a coach. And I know we've talked about Ben Johnson's growth and development. We've talked about the maturity and maturing of AG as a defensive coordinator as well. All three of them have really come into their own over time. And nowadays, at least in my opinion, when you see MCDC go to the podium, when you hear him talk, you know what? He does more and more sound like somebody who is maturing and growing, developing as an NFL head coach. So I do think the Lions have a real winner on their hands with MCDC. Obviously, he's changed the culture. He's got everybody to buy into what he wants to do with the franchise, and that goes from the front office, the players, etc., on down. It'll be interesting to see what you guys have to say about this topic with MCDC. You know, let's ask each other this. What are some of the things you've really grown to appreciate about Dan Campbell as a coach? What are maybe some of the areas where you feel like he still needs to kind of develop and grow and become better at? Everybody's going to have their own thoughts and opinions, but I thought this is as good as time in the year to try to dive into our head coach and basically what are his pros and cons, strengths, weaknesses, etc. All right, before we get into all that, though, as you guys probably know if you've watched the show before, a couple things. If you haven't yet subscribed to Lions Talk Live, please consider doing so. We're about 60 subs away or, right in that ballpark from hitting 6,000. Also, if you would be so kind and you enjoyed the video and the content, hit the thumbs up button. As you guys all know, that does a whole lot to help things out here. Last but never least, just because I'm a working man, I enjoy being busy. If you're looking to buy or sell property anywhere in the great state of Michigan, give me a call, shoot me a text, 269-998-2384. I've been in the industry for an incredibly long time, over 30 years. And one thing I can say, you're going to see that whether you're buying commercial property, vacant land, a second house, a new house, you're switching locations, whatever it is, get a realtor who can work on your behest and try to help you save some money on either the purchase or sale of the property you're targeting. So you see the number on the screen, 269-998-2384. All right, let's head on over to the comments. See what you guys got on your mind today. Mike the Marine, what do you got? Howdy, Dan Lions faithful. Back at you, buddy. Hopefully having a good morning. Glad to see you're here. I know a lot of people probably lost power last night. A lot of people in my feeds and stuff like that said, yeah, the sirens are going off for tornadoes or would-be tornadoes and warnings in different areas. And then a lot of people updated their power had gone out. Moonscar, good morning, Dan and crew, ! Went to a wrestling match last night and a basketball game broke out. Lots of scrums. Way to get the W, though. Thanks for that. Yeah, you should have. I wish I would have known you were there, man, if you came on out. But, hey, thanks for coming out and supporting. At least I'm assuming you're talking about ours, but maybe I'm wrong. Detroit D, what do you got? Grace and salutations. Everyone looks like Snead will be franchised by Kansas City. You know, you're spot on with that, Detroit. And I get we all know they can't keep everybody in Kansas City. There's just too much talent there. You got too many guys that are just going to get paid because they're pretty dang good, obviously from Patrick Mahomes on down. But this also does mean Chris Jones potentially is going to be looking for a new home. So can the Detroit Lions get him over? I know he is actually listed as one of the big potential free agents that the Lions could get. Whether or not that happens, I mean, it'd be speculation on all of our parts to even talk about it. But you know what? Hey, that's part of the fun of doing something like this, is speculating on the possibilities. Chris Jones would be a massive upgrade. We know, who he is as a player. Everybody gets he likes the Lions social media last week, etc. But let me ask you guys, if there was one free agent out there that you could sign, one big name guy, would you rather have Chris Jones or maybe somebody else on the defensive line? Because my anticipation is it's going to be either, if they're going to make a real big splash in free agency, it's going to be defensive line or cornerback. I don't think it can be both. Maybe I'm wrong. Not if they go for maybe not the elite guys, but the next level down, maybe they can get two guys. But it is my anticipation they potentially will go for one of those areas. Moonscar, I think the Nature Boy was there. Woo! May have made a few appearances there for sure last night. Drake, good morning, all. Seeing you on the news this morning, Coach. Congrats on your team's continued success. Sounds like that has a big win. Yeah, it was for sure. As you guys knew, we were going to have to make some adjustments because our starting point guard was out. But you know what? Give the kids credit. They all came through in a big way, especially clutch time in the fourth quarter with the game nearly tied. Yeah, they found a way to dig it out. All right, Detroit, let's go after the corner from the Titans with a low-cost, high-reward deal. There you go. Sean Murphy Bunting, I believe that is his name. Yeah, I think you're spot on with the name. He could be a target. That's not a bad call there, D. Now, what would you be able to sign him for? He's probably not going to be the Snead level or the Johnson level or anything like that. But he's probably just a level below that. I guess here's what I would say. Why, whoever you bring in, if you can get somebody of quality, then obviously the depth of the cornerback position does improve exponentially. And now you got more guys to go out there and play that, have the possibility to make plays. Are we still going to have anybody who's elite? Probably not, but we could definitely do some upgrading. Thaddeus, what do you got? Thaddeus, good morning. Good morning to you too. Moonscar, MCDC hopefully shows some growth next season. Know when to hold them, when to fold them kind of growth. There you go. You might not be wrong. I can only say what I'm about to say based on my time as a coach. Every season you should be trying to get better, and even if you've been doing it for a billion years, you should still kind of grow. What I can say out of MCDC, and to be fair to Ben Johnson, Aaron Glenn, etc., I think you see growth out of them, especially if you look back to their first year here to where they were last year. And I get there's going to be fans that are going to probably until the end of time talk about that title game loss and, hey, we should have done this and that. Man, anytime something doesn't work, you're just opening the floodgates for someone to come after you, whether you're an athlete, in business or a head coach or whatever. So I'm with you, though, Moonscar. I think as long as we continue to see him grow and develop, we're all going to be pretty happy. Obviously, we're very happy with what he and the rest of the representation of the Detroit Lions have done in 3 years here. So keep it going. Keep improving. Every time. Good morning, Coach. Lions movie was cool. Check it out. I will check it out. I knew it was coming out yesterday, but just because of coaching and work, wasn't able to take a peek at it. But I'm going to try to give a watch to it today, maybe at some point, maybe a little this evening before probably when Jen falls asleep on the couch around 8:30 p.m. or so. So I'll take a look at it, man. All right, Jess, we got Burger Time. Haven't seen it yet. Pretty good. I haven't heard anybody talk about it, but other than Burger Time, I know people have mentioned it came out, but I'm guessing it's pretty good. All right, Detroit D, if there isn't any big name corners out there, I'm going hard at Hunter and still drafting an edge and 2 corners of the draft. Yeah, I think that'd be a good plan right there. Beef up that defense. If you can maybe get some offensive line help, I think we've got enough receivers where really that and probably running back aren't concerns. You could probably say tight end 2. So if you want to take a year off of drafting those positions or at least one guy there, let Green get some reps at receiver if you believe in him. Scoresdale continued to develop, but I would continue to add to that offensive line as much as we rely on it. So, yeah, I think you're pretty spot on there, D. Jess and greetings and salutations all back at you. Hopefully having a great morning. Jason, greetings and salutations, crew. Superdome or bust. Glad to see you survive the slopes and that you're back. Hopefully you had a great time there, my friend. All right, Bird Time, thank you for everything you do. Bring us Lions fans up to the minute news on your favorite team. In my opinion, best channel on YouTube. Woo! Thanks for the kind words for that. And hey, man, you definitely help out with that with this channel. So thanks for all you do there. And not just the Bergs, but to everybody, man. Thank you. Berg Time, yes, Jess, very good. Yeah, it gets you pumped up for next year. Yeah, and that's what we all want out of something like that. Something that, hey, maybe gives us some information and gives us reason to believe in next season. So I'm going to have to check that out tonight. All right, Moonscar. Going to be hanging banners. People used to complain about getting trophies, all they do is collect dust. I would always reply with, quote, as long as they are collecting my dust. There you go. I like that. I might even steal that one. All right, Doug, what do you got? At Detroit D, that means Jones would hit free agency if Snead gets the tag. I'll take Jones in a heartbeat. Yeah, and I think that's where most people are with it. Guy's going to get paid. Maybe, who knows? Maybe Jones already has a clue where he's going or where he's not going to go. And maybe that's why he did like Detroit Lions media. Maybe Brad Holmes is playing some chess by telling everybody, hey, everybody's not going to be happy with what we do with free agency. We're just going to, play it safe or whatever. And I'm kind of paraphrasing, so don't hold me to that. It's not a direct quote. But when he had his presser, not this week, but whatever it was, 2 weeks ago, he said, hey, Lions fans were probably going to have to more or less endure a ho-hum free agency. They weren't going to do anything. Maybe he's saying that, but maybe he's actually going to go in a different direction. I will say this. I do believe there's more evidence growing that Brad Holmes may actually go after a splash signing in free agency. When you hear him and you hear MCDC this week at the Combine, I think there's some real potential there. I think for the first time this offseason, I know I've talked to you guys, and you guys have said we've all had, delusions of grandeur that the Lions were going to go sign this big name dude or whatever. But then we'd come back and say that doesn't really sound like something Brad Holmes would do. I'm not so sure that's the case anymore. I think they are actually looking at signing someone. Could it be Chris Jones? I don't know. I mean, obviously that would be a hellacious signing. And I would immediately say wherever he lines up, I'm putting Aiden Hutchinson right to his shoulder. So right side or left side. And then probably go Elaine McNeil and, whoever on the other side, James Houston. Subliminal message there. But that's a pretty massive defensive line. We've talked about the Bears line and what they're trying to do. Hey, it's an arms race in the NFC North. Every team wants to win it, and everybody knows they've got to go out and acquire more talent in order to stay relevant. So let's see what shakes out. Boo, what do you got? Good morning, Duke Crew. Superdome or bust! Exclamation point. Lots of good word from MCDC regarding JMO. Yeah, he did 100%. He talked him up pretty fierce. He talked him up and said, this kid's only getting better. He's only going to keep improving. They love where he's gone. I know. I get MCDC also talked about Hendon Hooker and his growth and how pleased he was. That could probably be a video that would probably lead to a whole lot of more debate about, hey, we need to trade this person, that person, etc. But for now, let's just focus on Jameson Williams. And you know what? We've talked about it throughout the playoffs. He kept looking better and better. And I still am going to say the NFC title game was his best game so far in the NFL. And if he's doing that at that level against that team, you know what? The future really does look bright for him. All right, Detroit D, what do you got? I like Kyrie Jackson, kid from Alabama who transferred to Oregon. Long and fast, 6'2", long arms. Yeah. And here's my question, though, is where do we all evaluate him getting drafted? And that's, if the Lions want to make a move in the draft, I think they're probably going to have to get him. I just don't see someone who's that physical, that big, that fast, that long. And check out the wingspan on that kid. Yeah, he's got a radius on him that it's going to be hard to beat. Now, I can't be, disingenuous and say, hey, I know everything about the kid because I haven't studied him like that. But if I get a chance, maybe this weekend, I'll try to do a little bit more deep dive in him, try to figure out, his ability to flex and get in and out of breaks, keep up with receivers on route trees, etc. And if he's got all that, yeah, that would be something. It'd be a heck of a find for the Detroit Lions. All right, Trey, what's good? All question mark. No power, so I'm watching from the phone. Any updates on free agents and the Lions at all? Nothing other than what we've already talked about in the show. There's going to be a ton more speculation popping up, especially in the closing weeks leading up into free agency. I did see something about what was it, like the 5 best places for Chris Jones to now sign. I think more and more people, sort of like Detroit D we're talking about earlier in the show, more and more people are under the belief the Kansas City Chiefs are going to retain Ladarius Sneed, or franchise tag him, I guess you could say. And if that happens, then Chris Jones is gone. I guess I get it if I'm the Kansas City Chiefs. He's 29. How much more do you want to pay him? You can't keep everybody. Ladarius Sneed isn't significantly younger than Chris Jones, but he does have, I think, 2 or 3 years more youth on him. I don't know, man. If it was me, I'd probably franchise tag Chris Jones, but it's not me. So let's see what they end up doing. All right, Mike, what do you got? Watch the Lions mini movie for the 3rd time. Great job by the production crew. I'm going to have to check it out. And, if you guys haven't seen it, go ahead and check it out. I'm sure you can find it on a quick Google search or YouTube or whatever. But, yeah, it sounds like a bunch of people are hyping it up pretty good. All right, Berg time. It was good to hear Coach yesterday. Didn't realize how much I appreciate his press conferences. The one thing I would say is no matter from the start with his opening hire press conference to yesterday, I think everybody pretty much gets who Dan Campbell is at this point. He's a very genuine, upfront, doesn't hold cards back. I mean, he's the complete opposite of Brad Holmes. He lets it all hang out. He's got a thought. He's going to say it. And he's going to ride or die with his decisions and the guys on his team. And I think that's not lost on the players. The players know he shoots them straight, or at least there's the vast belief that he shoots them straight on any topic. Even if he knows they don't or won't like it, he's going to say it how he thinks it is. And you know what? I think that's a huge marketing factor for the Detroit Lions in free agency. Anybody who's potentially looking at signing somewhere, I think there's real possibilities some players will be willing to take a little bit less because of how the Lions are getting a reputation for handling players, taking care of them, and the fact that you're playing for someone like McDC who, just says it as it is. I mean, he's going to be as brutally honest with you as he can be and really look out and respect, take care of his players. All right, Zach, what do you got? Jackson is nice. Just don't know if we can get him. Yeah, and that's Kyrie Jackson. That's kind of where I'm at with things. Doesn't mean we can't get him, but it's probably going to take a little bit to get him. All right, Dale, good morning, Duke crew, exclamation point. I agree, Coach Dan. Every player should have that quote by Green Bay GM in the locker room. Bring it on, Green Bay. We are ready for you. There you go, exclamation point. And yeah, just probably in hindsight, the Packers GM is probably regretting that, at least to some degree, how it was worded. I do think he was trying to say one thing and just not have it come out that way. That's what I think, or at least that's what I would hope, because there's no way in the hell as a coach you want to give anybody any kind of, bulletin board material, something to hang on a wall, let alone as a general manager. I get with Justin Fields. Hey, man, he's a 23, 24-year-old kid. Sometimes at that age, or man, even when they get older, people talk with their feelings. So maybe I give him a pass. How about that? But as a general manager of a franchise, man, you cannot have any words come out of your mouth anywhere near that. But hey, good for the Detroit Lions. We can use that for us. All right. Let's see. Clark, what do you got? Greatest salutations, everyone. McDC has changed just about everyone's view on him from that opening presser. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I think most of the national media, heck, man, probably most of us fans, we all probably looked at that and said, the guy's just, he's a doofus or whatever. He's, the big, burly, muscular guy, probably can't, think he's not much of a game strategy guy or whatever. What are they doing hiring this guy? But, I don't think anybody, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think most people think that anymore. I think most of us understand there's more to the guy than meets the eye, at least on your opening view of him. He's I've said it already in the show. He's very genuine. He's got his players' backs. The players respond to him incredibly well. And that alone needs to count for something, because there are a lot of guys in that league who are coaches that players don't really enjoy playing for. So that tells you they're there for the team and probably the paycheck. With MCDC, I do get the genuine opinion that most players say, you know what, this is a guy I want to play for. And I get, you can't make everybody happy as a coach. No coach can. I don't care how great or bad you are. There's going to be people that don't like you. But MCDC genuinely seems to have the back of the vast majority of the players that come through the Lions organization. Big Eddie, good morning, all. Coach Dan, any thoughts on what we will do in free agency, if anything? Question mark. Let me ask, what would you do, and what do you truly think Brad Holmes is going to do? If it's me, yeah, I'd be all in on the next 2 to 3 years. So what does that mean? I would probably look at our salary cap and say, we're going to find a way to make this happen. We're going to get a big name free agent on the defensive line, at least somebody that we believe is going to be very productive during that 2 to 3 year window. Probably not sign him for a contract longer than 3 years. Unless the fourth year or something like that's voidable, team friendly, can, get out of the deal. And then, yeah, I'm probably getting at least one cornerback in free agency. So with those two parts alone, now I feel like I can go into the draft and just build up the team wherever I want. I probably would still target cornerback, offensive line, defensive line, edge as my biggest needs. What do I think Holmes is going to do? Sort of like I said a couple minutes ago, I do think there's more and more evidence to at least suggest that the Detroit Lions and Brad Holmes are going to make a move in free agency for one of the bigger name players. It doesn't mean it's going to be the biggest name. Doesn't mean it's going to be Chris Jones or whoever, but I think they're going to go spend some money this offseason. Been wrong before, so we'll see what happens. John, Dan is a great motivational guy. He just needs to stop coaching like a fan, particularly when on fourth down. Yeah, he's I mean, hey, the dude's aggressive, no doubt about it. And hey, he's gonna take flack to the end of time on those fourth down calls. But of course, the opposite side of that is also true. If Josh Reynolds holds on to that first pass, hey, we all have a very different view of that game. If they don't run it on whatever it was, third down, and have to use a timeout with 2 minutes left, or roughly around there, we probably have a different view of that. But hey, that's the life of a coach. You make calls. When they work, you're a genius. When you don't, you're a fool. So it happens. All right, Hatman, good morning, Dan and Dew family. Hope all enjoyed the beautiful weather the last couple of days. Took my dog for a 2.5 hour walk yesterday. Well, good for you, man. Hopefully you enjoyed walking. Yeah, it sounds like it's going to be a little different weather the next couple of days. All right, Anthony, good morning. Dew Crew, Super Bowl or bust. Back at you, buddy. And you know what? Thanks for all you do for the show, too. I still got to, do something, maybe tomorrow's thumbnail. I'll put up some of that artwork that you sent me and try to get it on air. Let everybody have their thoughts on it. All right, Dennis, good morning, fam. Good morning to you, too. Hey, man, Dan, did you see Brad or Dan's press conference? I saw parts of it. I didn't have enough time yesterday with it being a game day to dive into both deeply, unfortunately, at the time of those pressers, but I did get some tidbits from it, 100%. Detroit D, hey, just want everyone to know this is one of the best shows and chats on YouTube. You guys are great. Yeah, I think everybody has a pretty good time with it. So, can't say that there aren't areas for us to improve. So if you guys ever do come up with ideas on how to improve things or what you'd like to see done, throw them at me in the comment section, or I guess when the video concludes or whatever in the comment section. So yeah, I enjoy being here every morning, and hopefully you guys do as well. All right, Dale, I hope MCDC continues to evolve as a coach. Sadly, I put a lot of our championship game loss on his poor decisions. Just my opinion. Hey, nothing wrong with having an opinion, man. To not kick the field goal. Love the guy, though. Go Lions. Yeah, and you know what? If he evolves and the team grows from that loss, and let's just hypothetically say we make the Super Bowl next year or the year after that, just whenever. I can only tell you from my own personal perspective, I'm going to look back at that and say, hey, that was a great thing that happened because it took us here. It's been 70 years since the Lions have made a NFL championship game. So not my lifetime. I'm old, not quite that old yet. So if that happens, I'm going to say water to the bridge, go forward. But I really do hope that loss ends up being a huge motivational and learning opportunity for both the coaching staff and the players. All right, Boo. Nobody is clowning on DC anymore. If you still diss the team, yeah. Hey, the more we continue to win, the more we continue to consistently be one of the NFL's best teams. Probably a lot of that chatter is going to change there, Boo. But when you've been down for so long, you're still going to have people take shots at you. All right, Anthony, what's your thoughts on Snead? Been hearing talks the Lions could go get him. KC is hurting for cash. KC is one of the teams that probably has the most difficult decisions this offseason to make because, like you just pointed out, Anthony, they've got some people getting paid and they're going to have more people getting paid. So there lies the problem. You can't keep everybody. That's just part of the design of the NFL with the salary cap. But will they be able to keep Snead? I know there is speculation that they're going to franchise tag him and not Chris Jones. To me, that's not what I would do, but they don't ask me. So I'll just say this. If Snead hits the free agency, doesn't get franchise tag, if he does hit free agency, he's going to get paid because he is one of the best corners out there. And I'm not going to say he's number one or whatever, but I think there's a fair case to be made. He's one of the top 3 corners in free agency. Then it comes down to what you want to pick, based on your metrics. Is he number one or, Jalen Johnson number one or somebody else number one? I'll let other people debate that. I like the guy a ton. I don't think he is an elite corner. I think he's just a level below. But, yeah, KC's going to probably have to let him or Chris Jones go because, unfortunately, the salary cap. And as far as how much he's going to get paid, man, I don't know. But he's going to get a boatload, more than I'm going to make this week. I'll tell you that. Dennis, I hope we draft Sweat, defensive tackle from Texas. He's a beast, and I couldn't agree with you more, Dennis. That dude is a freak of nature. That big, that fast, that athletic. I remember last year in the draft, when we were going through the processes, I brought up this kid's name just because I happened to go through some video on another player down in Texas, and when I came across him, I was like, man, this guy is a monster if he stays healthy and keeps evolving, and he is. I would have zero problems if the Detroit Lions said, you know what, we're going after him and put him in a rotation with Broderick Martin, Lee McNeil, man, and then probably another defensive tackle that's currently on the roster. That would be a massive front and massive rotation and some dudes who are big and athletic that can get after the quarterback. Uncle Buzz, go Red Wolves 1,000%. I like the way you're thinking, and thanks for that, man. One more game to go in the regular season. That's tomorrow night. Yeah, so we're gonna make the trip down to the last remaining hot now in all the world. We're gonna go down to Sturgis, Michigan, and hopefully end the regular season on a good note. All right, Mike the Marine, what do you got? Check out the NFL Freaks list for prospects. Each season has multiple sleepers or Lions day 3 picks. I'll have to check that out, and thanks for the heads up on that, man. Dennis, good morning, fam. Good morning to you, too. Property Lord, greetings and salutations, do crew. Well, have a good morning yourself, sir. All right, Dennis, great win, Dan. It was, man. A hard fought, man. And you know what? Came down to the wire. But, hey, found a way to keep growing and developing as a team, and I'm happy for them. Anthony, anyone else check out that mini movie about the Lions season? No, a couple people, Anthony, have said quite a bit about it this morning. I haven't been able to check it out, but I'm going to try to check it out tonight. So hopefully everybody gets an opportunity to go do that. Man Bear, good morning. Good morning to you too. Dale, Jason, hope you had a great ski trip. Yeah, and hopefully you did. Obviously you survived. So I'm glad it went well for you. Man Bear, no, but I plan on watching it today. Yeah, 100% with the movie, the mini movie. Hatman, Bird Time, I agree. This is by far the best Lions show, and Dan looks like a stud for his game last night. Hey, let me tell you, I didn't fall asleep till about 1:30 last night. Let me tell you, when that alarm went off at 5, oof, I'm feeling it. That Mountain Dew is going to taste great this morning because I might have to drink a little bit more of it because I am dragging. And thanks for that, man. Okay, good morning, Coach and Dew crew! Exclamation points. MCDC, he is a player's coach. He is on the same page as all of the team. Yeah, and I would agree with that. He is a player's coach, and it goes to show there's tons of different ways to be a player's coach. Wayne Fonts, who I love to death as a coach, he's a player's coach. And, it was always like the biggest joke of the preseason. hey, Barry can't play today. He's not feeling well. He's got the flu again. He stubbed his toe or whatever. MCDC is a player's coach, but he's vastly different than Wayne Fonts. And both of them, hey, you can make an argument. Both of them are some of the greatest Lions coaches ever, at least in my lifetime. I'm going to be 52 this year, and I'm going to say I love them both exponentially, but they are both incredibly different. MCDC just doesn't hold anything back, bleeds from his heart anything he's going to say, and the players pick up on that. It resonates with him because he is so non-BS, non-political, not any of that stuff. He just goes out there and he tells it exactly how he feels it. And you know what? Good for him, man, because not a lot of coaches do that. They want to hold stuff back. I have no doubt he has very strong personal relationships with everybody on that team, and they are aware of that. All right, Michael, greetings and salutations, Coach and Duke crew, back at you. Hopefully you have a great morning. LOL, I agree, Hatman, 100%. Detroit D, this show and chat are therapeutic for me. Yeah, you know what? It's almost funny you say that because when we lost the NFC title game, I almost wanted to put something like that on whatever it was, like the next morning's video. About therapy session, because to a certain degree, I think you're 100% right, Detroit. We all obviously fans first and foremost. We love the team. We bleed for the team. But the fact that we can come in here and everybody, just kind of talks their talk, has their thoughts. We're all going to have different views. But the fact that, we don't get after each other, we all just kind of help embrace each other and get to know each other a little bit. I think it makes it awesome. Dennis, let's see, hit the like button. Go ahead. Yeah, if you haven't yet subscribed to Lions Talk Live, please consider doing so. And if you enjoy the content of the video or the channel, hit the thumbs up button too. Mike, hit it 100%. Dennis, do it for Pedro. Come on. There you go. Vote for Pedro. There you go. Dennis, or excuse me, Bit Lady. Good morning, Dan, Duke crew. Watching the interview with defensive line coach Williams, it is easy to see why he chose Detroit and why MCDC will feel real comfy with him. Strengthen the defensive coach tree before AG leaves is good. Yeah. And you know what? I know we talked about it a bit later. I think you brought it up, although don't hold me to this. When we first hired Williams, I think there could be some chance that England, if, let's just say he gets a head coaching job next year, that Williams will be the guy to replace him. He's got an impeccable reputation around the league. I get every team. So when you hear MCDC or somebody, other coaches on staff saying, hey, we just got the best defensive line coach in the NFL. That's what you're going to say. I mean, that's what you're going to say to back up your dude. You're not going to say, man, we think we got the, 28th best defensive line coach in the league. But to your point, if you talk to the coaches around the league, that's when you probably get a little bit more truth to it. Everybody's going to probably talk somebody up because nobody wants to talk somebody down, at least very few coaches. But if you look at the proof in the pudding and all that, the film, Williams guys seem to be highly aggressive. And I don't remember the guy he reminds me most of as a defensive line coach. And this, I just can't remember his name. He was a defensive line coach for the Minnesota Vikings in the 90s. And then he came over and for a brief time was the defensive line / defensive coordinator for the Lions. And basically he had a mantra that we are going to go Blitzburg the entire time. We're going to go to the quarterback and we're going to stop the run on the way to the quarterback. So you saw the Lions, just like the Vikings before when he was coaching with them, they'd get tons of sacks from multiple different guys throughout the season because they were just so uber aggressive shooting gaps. Kind of wasn't technically sound. I'm not going to say Williams is that, but I will say this. I do fully expect a much more assertive approach to that defensive line where like last year, I know we kind of all bemoaned the horseshoe scheme that we ran, especially on mobile quarterbacks to try to keep them contained. I don't think that's going to be the case so much anymore. If a quarterback gets out and runs, I think they're just going to say, we're just going to put more hits on him and try to beat him up that way. So maybe, just maybe, Justin Fields, if he's still around next year, he's going to have even more complaints about the Detroit Lions. All right, Dale, what do you got? Yes, indeed, Coach Dan in Western Michigan is the man. The one in Southeast Michigan is too. Coach Dan's are the best. Thanks for that. Thanks for that very much. And just a true fact, first college I ever coached at was Western Michigan University. Yeah, men's team back in, mid-90s. Anyways, Trump. Woo! There you go. Hatman, Lions Talk, live or bust. I'll take that. I will take that, and that would probably be a great T-shirt too. Bit Lady, 2024 Super Bowl or bust. Woo! There you go. Mike the Rain, thumbs up, 100%. Hooky Doo. Once I found LTL, I stopped watching other Lions podcasts. Now that's a compliment right there, and that's a credit to everybody in the chat, everybody on the show. So, yeah, thanks for that. That's very kind, man. Hooky Doo. Dennis, woo! There you go. Moonscar, seems like a long list of interior offensive linemen, free agents available out there. It will be interesting to see who goes where and for how much. Jackson might not get so much with his injury history. You know, you do have a great point there, Moonscar, because if he's not one of the top guys signed or the first couple of guys signed, that asking price is going to go down with every day that passes because there's going to be less teams looking for a big price interior offensive lineman. And that just over time just keeps pushing it down more and more. So you're spot on with that. And as unfortunate as it was for Jackson, his contract year was probably his most injury-filled season, at least that I can think of. Mile, good snowy morning. Good snowy morning to you too. Hopefully you're staying warm. Trump, tick-tock. Yes, we're getting closer and closer to the free agency. And I know, man, everybody's chomping at the bit for it, man. Phil, greetings and salutations, Duke crew. Phil, nice yellow guitar you got, and hopefully having a great morning there, my friend. How many guitars are you working on currently? That's my question to you, sir. Michael, Brad Holmes basically said he wants to build from within, not free agency. So I look for Brad Holmes, no high-priced free agent players. Burns could help, yes. And, you know, the fact that he went for him last year along with Hunter, that's, you know, that when he came out and mentioned that, along with a couple other tidbits here and there over the last couple of weeks, that's what's leading me to think, man, maybe there is a real possibility the Lions pull just a rabbit out of the hat and go for a bigger free agent signing than any of us are anticipating. Dennis, can we bring back Evan Brown? I wonder if they will, because he did play well here, especially when he became the center. Guard, he did okay. I'm not going to say it was over the top, but it was respectable. How about that? So if Jonah Jackson leaves, do you basically bring back Evan Brown and then, I don't know, maybe Graham Glasgow for near the price of what I think Jonah Jackson is going to command? But like we were just talking about, if he's not one of the first day signings or first couple days signings, then his asking price is going to probably have to shift down a little bit. Phil, wow, lights, right lights. Yes, right lights, bright lights. All right, bright lights it is. Yes, go with the bright lights. Non-Kong Super Bowl or bust. I love it when you're here, and I'm loving that you got your saying, man. And hey, thanks for always being part of the show, my friend. Moonscar, Evan Brown was decent as a center, but he's sucked at guard. Okay, we'll go with that. Robert, good agrees and salutations all back at you. Kurt Steele, what up, Doe? What up to you too? And good morning to you, man. Boo, what do you got? If MCDC didn't grow, we wouldn't be a contender. This is also true. That is correct. Dennis, I love DC as coach. Yeah, it's hard not to like him, right? Patrick, what do you got? Good morning, Michigan. I made it. Being old, when my eyes open, I'm awake. Fair enough, man. Glad you're awake. Dennis, what up, Doe? Kurt Steele. Oh, there you go. Boo. Go. Woo! There you go. Eduardo, I think he needs to get better at win a challenge and play. I think he hasn't won one yet. Man, I wonder if that is accurate. Has MCDC lost on all of his challenges? I don't know that off the top of my head, but if anybody can check that out, I don't know if that's something you can Google, but if you can, go ahead and let us know, man, because that would be an interesting fact. Ed, good morning, coach and Duke crew. MCDC is the best Lions coach of my lifetime. He has grown and is sure he will again this year. Yeah, he'll continue to develop and improve. I'm expecting that out of all the coaches, just like you would with the players. And Ed, good morning to you. Hopefully, if you're out there fishing, you're warm. Don, Lions Talk and Coffee, enjoying show. Thanks. Hey, well, I'm glad you're enjoying the show, and I hope the coffee is treating you well. Boo, sometimes a challenge just gives you time. There you go. I'll go with that. Moonscar, I agree at Eduardo. All right, Eduardo. Also, don't forget some Packers GM that had to put up a statement out after the Week 4 game because we infiltrated the stadium. We live rent-free. Yeah, the fact that I remember when we played there, and was it the next couple of days or week or whatever after the game that the Packers put out some sort of press release asking fans not to sell their tickets for home games. Yeah, I mean that was something I thought. Hatman, 2 days in a row I get to watch live. Well, I'm glad you're getting to watch, and I hope you're enjoying the channel, man. Charles, next week a lot of players should get axed around the league. This is true, and we'll see a bigger free agent list. Yeah, 100%. Because teams are making some real tough choices, and I don't wish it upon any player, any coach, or whatever when you lose your job, but it's just the nature of the business. Not everybody's going to be on the roster who's currently there now, the start of next year. So people are going to drop off, and maybe that will create some real value for the Lions to jump on. Hey, Anthony, thanks for this. I will enjoy a delicious hot dog and Mountain Dew this morning on you. Show pictures of the t-shirts, coach. Yeah, I'll try to get that on tomorrow morning's thumbnail. Wonder if there's a way I can put them in the show. I'm going to look into that and see if I can. And Anthony, if I can, I'll get in the thumbnail and then tomorrow's show. So thanks for all the hard work you've done on that, man. Thank you very much. Eduardo, Brad comments yesterday gave an even bigger insight on what he's thinking about corners. He talked about how hard it is to evaluate. Yeah. And I know we talked about it a little bit yesterday that, man, in the NFL, in my opinion, there's just a massive shortage of top flight corners. Most teams really only have, a situation not that dissimilar than the Detroit Lions. So if that's true, you probably have to make some real hard calls and say, hey, is it more reasonable for us to get better at, say, defensive line and pass rush and stuff, where we can minimize how long those guys have to cover? I think that's one of the bigger things going around the NFL, and just sort of like the quarterback situation. There's only so many great ones. There's only so many ones you can win with. So like with Jared Goff, it's going to be a whole lot easier to get worse than that dude than it is get better. And we can all talk about Cam Sutton or whoever at cornerback, but sort of like we're seeing from the draft, free agent pool, and the comments of multiple different people about the draft, it's all best guess when it comes to the cornerback spot. You think this guy can make it, but a lot of them don't. And that's why I know one of the tidbits I did get from Brad Holmes is you re-sign your own guys because you know who they are. You bring in a free agent or a draft, you're best guessing who that guy is going to be for you. All right, Ed, MCDC will always been up front to the fans, and I love him for that. Good or bad, he owns up to it. Yeah, he does. And you know what? That's not lost on his players. I think they love him for it. JP, good morning, Dew Crew. Back at you. Demetrius Stewart, what up, though? Woo! There you go. And hopefully you're having a good morning. Robert, Tampa released Shaq Barrett. Any interest? Man, if you're talking about Shaq Barrett from like 3 or 4 years ago when they won the Super Bowl, 1,000%. You'd probably have a line of teams going for him. But last year, man, I don't know if he was injured, the way they used him. But when we played him in either game, did anybody notice him? And that's probably one of the things that's really going to affect him. And we also talk about it a lot on the show. The NFL, in my eyes, is the most difficult league to really sign players to longer term contracts in, because you look at year 2 to 3 years from now, how fast careers can change just because the physical abuse you put through the body, especially in a high impact spot like running back or defensive line or offensive line. Those bodies just get chewed up so fast, man. I don't know if there'd be huge interest, Robert, in them, but you might kick the tires on them. I just don't know how much gas is left in that tank. All right, Brett. Good morning, Coach Ducru. Congrats on the win, Coach. MCDC has gotten better, and thanks for that, by the way. Better this each year without losing his aggressiveness. Still makes mistakes, but owns them. Sign of a true leader. Yeah, owns up to his mistakes. And to your point, yeah, every season he seems to be evolving and getting better. All right, Moonscar. Yeah, Dan, your game. My kids go to the school. I've been to many of your games. Just didn't want to bother you during your coaching duties. Yeah, man, come up after the game or something, man. Come on out and say hi or something. I got no problem with it. So yeah, glad you came on out. Detroit D, Hunter or Jones. Yeah, I take either one of them, man. What'll bring me 2 to 3 pass rushers that can give you what Hunter gives you, and let's go. I'd like the way you're thinking. Wardo, no, Robert, he stinks. Fair enough. Brent, take ownership. I knew where you're going with that, man. Detroit D, I love Shaq. He's a beast off the edge. He is, man. I just wonder about him because, man, his numbers have gone up. Maybe it's schematically. I guess that's where the coaches or anybody who can watch more film on him can probably ascertain that. All right, Dennis, Kendall Fuller, and Bryce Huff. Those would be some good options. Eduardo, I repeat, let Brad cook. Let him cook, 100%. Eduardo, Brad's masterclass incoming. Count it down, man. No Shaq Barrett. All right, boo. Jason thinks Haley Val skis were Lions blue. I saw some kids with a St. Brown jersey. Go Lions. That's awesome. All right, Burger Time. I love Coach. No, he's aggressive, but taking the points is good. Needs to realize the importance of the decisions. 100%. Boo, Jason, ever go to Alta? There you go. Eduardo, Hutch is our star. We need to just surround him with guys who are above average. We have below average guys right now. In some spots, I would agree 100%. Yeah. Patrick can't complain on Mcdc did and how he progressing. Hopefully he's not changing too much as he gets too conservative. Yeah, hopefully he does not get too conservative. Anthony, and I see Green Bay running their pie hole already. Butt hurt. There you go. Yeah, their GM did kind of put foot in mouth yesterday. Eduardo, Lions have a third quarter problem for 2 years now. That's on DC. How he could not figure that out last offseason is unacceptable. Show us growth by fixing it. Okay, yeah, and I agree. Get that fixed. Eduardo, don't put your faith in Scoresdale. Dude stinks. Yeah, I'm just hoping they can coach him up and maybe get more out of him than what he had as a rookie. So not everybody evolves on the same timeline. Server, good morning, Coach, and everyone else. How was the game? Was it fun? It was a great game last night. We ended up getting the win. It was a tight one, though. Bit lady. Cornerback Sean Bunting would be a mid-tier signing, and his value is about $6.5 million a year. This is a very acceptable amount for the Lions cap currently, especially if they can make some short, friendly deal. Yeah, there you go. And I'm still kind of hoping that they were signed. What's his name? Blew out his ACL again last year. But you guys know what I'm talking about. I just can't remember his name off the top of my head. All right, Ed, I know we edge in a corner, but how many backup players do we need from this draft? Well, they might start off as backups, but maybe they can evolve into more, grow and develop into more. Let's see. Eduardo, Billy, I don't care. Just need new faces on the defense, exclamation point. I expect 2 to 5 new faces. Yeah, and there's a real possibility that could happen. All right, Tim, in Branholm's presser, he shared his undying love for the cornerback position. He also confirmed his loyalty is to the draft process and its priorities. And how do we affect his solving our DB weakness and how it will affect? Hey, if that's how he believes, if that's what he thinks is right, then support him because you know what? He's done a great job rebuilding this team in record time. Eduardo, Brad hasn't given us any reason not to put faith in him. I agree with that. So unless proven otherwise, in Brad we trust. Agreed, 100%. Don Kong, they will absolutely not go after any of the top cash free agents. None, 0. Okay, maybe that will happen. I think there's some evidence to it, but who knows, man? Like we've all talked about before, Brad Holmes likes to move chess pieces around, get people to think he's going one way and then going the other. We'll see where he actually goes in about 2 weeks. Bit lady, Eduardo, for sure we need new faces. Team will put on the field this past year did not win a Super Bowl, so you have to make changes, and there will be turnover, especially the D needs help. Agreed. Yeah, I think we all agree on that. Is that still you? When DC talked about his quote, regret, I finally relaxed. It's people who say they have no regrets that bother me most. The ability to self-criticize shows maturity and learning. I think that's well said. There is that still you? Donkon, just stop now. What the frack? Frack's a Battlestar Galactica term, by the way. They will not even consider a top cash free agency, and they shouldn't. Yeah, they might not, man, but we'll see what they do. Eduardo, exactly, bit lady, exclamation point. Between the secondary and D line, this is who deserves to stay. Iffy, Sutton, Kirby, Branch, Hutch, Aleem, and Pascal. Everyone else can go. All right, we'll go with that. Man, what about the? All right, yeah. No, I think you're fairly spot on with that. Sorry, I had to think there for a second. Eduardo, okay, Donkey Kong, there you go. Eduardo, I'm a big fan of Colin Carson, late second rounder. He's a man-to-man, but maybe too physical that can be coached down from Wake Forest. Hey, I'd rather have to try to get somebody to pull back the Jets and try to get them to add the Jets. So let's take a peek at them. Gary, Brad Holmes will fill in the potholes in the road to the Super Bowl. Too corny, right? Not at all, man. Go with it, man. I kind of liked it. Eduardo, KC is looking for a sign and trade for Snead. All right. I don't think we'll do that, but you never know, man. I guess it depends on what you want to get for that trade. Eduardo, I'd give up the 29th pick for Snead in a heartbeat. All right. We'll see if Brad Holmes does that. We have talked about them trading that pick. Brent, there are some really good cornerbacks in the draft, but cornerbacks usually take time to develop in the NFL. We need a seasoned quarterback now, in my opinion. No, I think you're pretty spot on. I think that's where most fans would go. I think most fans think if you could sign somebody in free agent and then draft some younger corners to slowly mature them and grow them, then maybe you got something. Mile marker, last night's movie was fun, but stretching that a bit. I think it's like a half hour long or something, so maybe an episode. Go with that. All right, Eduardo, Lions trade for Snead. I will watch Snead highlights during the draft. There you go. You'll probably see, quite a bit of it. So, all right, let's see here. Burger time, LOL, mile marker, more like season highlights. Yeah, all right. Oh, as far as the movie? Okay. Burger time. But did get me excited for next year. Yeah, and that's probably the purpose of the video is just, keep us in their mind, keep us getting excited for next year. Boo, let's not get caught up in the description. Yeah, okay. Yeah. I'm with you out there on that, Boo. Broski, you need to be worried about the Bears. Yeah, they're amassing some talent. They're doing a pretty good job. They're taking a different approach to it than the Lions for the most part, but as we all know, they've got a lot of draft capital. It's going to be interesting to see what they do with that this year. Anthony, someone said the Lions overpaid Marvin. No, the Lions rewarded him for his play and commitment to the team. Yeah, as far as Jalen Reeves-Maybin, I just didn't think it was that bad a deal. And it probably, in my opinion, it's reflective that they envision using him for more than just special teams, probably more and more on defense. So if you can get somebody who's going to contribute heavily on defense and special teams while being a locker room presence / leader, captain, I'm down with that. Let's see. Boo or respect doesn't equal worry. All right, fair enough. All right, Eduardo, didn't y'all hear that Tom Brady's ex-wife was cheating on him? I did not hear that, and I guess I just don't know much about their personal lives. Eduardo, not even the go to safe. Yeah, if that's the case, hey man, I feel sorry for anybody who has to go through that because it's no fun, man. No fun at all. All right, Boo, Jalen Reeves-Maybin deserves his contract. Yeah, he's a Lion through and through, and I'm glad he's going to be a Lion for a few more years. Brent, Packers GM didn't do his team any favors by throwing smack at the Lions. He will come to regret that when he sees Packers bodies getting knocked out on their keisters. LOL. Fair enough. And yeah, I was really surprised he put that out there, spoke it into the universe. Moonscar, I bet most of us fans have wanted a motivational, passionate coach for years, a Bill Cowher type. Now we have him. Even Cowher compares himself to MCDC. I'll go with that, man. Yeah, that's real good. That's probably a fair comparison. Mile, what do you got? Gossip, 100%. Boo, I wish Caldwell had DC fire. Just different type of personality. I mean, Jim Caldwell was a very good coach. I think all of us agree on that. Just more internalized. But his guys, his players, they loved him to death, just like MCDC, just different types of personalities. Boo, don't forget about the near miss by the secondary. Different game there. Yeah, if that thing doesn't bounce off Vildor's face mask or Cam Sutton, I want to say Sutton had 2 near opportunities at interceptions. They hold on to those. We probably win the game, especially the Vildor one, because you take a touchdown away from them, and again, you get to eat the clock more. All right, Patrick, as far as I'm concerned, Coach Dan should just keep going the way he's been going. He's gotten us this far. No need to change now. Yeah, and there's that part of it too. He's done what only one other coach in 70 years has been able to do, win a playoff game. He's the only coach in 70 years to win 2 playoff games. So, I mean, there's some truth and validity to what you're saying there. Stick with what you do. Mile marker, Dan, did you comment on the presser yesterday? Someone used this channel name. I think, oh gosh, when I was watching it, I was driving to go show a house. Yeah, I think I put some comment in there. Maybe I put 2 in there, but I couldn't watch it all just because when I got to the house, I had to show the house. All right, 313. Did you guys win yesterday? We did. We did. So we're 19-2 now with one game to go. Yeah, and then the playoffs begin next week. Broski, I'm hearing the Lions will look to sign Darnell Mooney. I'll have to look into that. I don't know offhand. Moonscar, anything was better than seeing the stupid look on Patricia's face. Talk about clueless. Yeah, man, Patricia, man, he got in his own way. We'll put it that way. Broski, thanks for disgusting picture, Anthony. All right, fair enough. All right. That's my baby, 80 pound pit bull. There you go. Anthony, you have you owned pits before? We rescue. Oh, there you go. All right, Broski, I need Bears to leave the draft with no nabbers or nabbers. All right, so Marvin Harris Jr. or nabbers. There you go. Sorry, it took me a second. Broski, Anthony, what's your overall take on pit bulls? Okay, Moonscar, sweat size is an issue. I worry that he would be good for only 2 years. Then he wear and tear would kill his knees. That guy's size have to run, don't last that long. I mean, I get that, but if you're using them in a rotational piece, like, and everybody's different. There have been guys that have played in this league at that size. To your point, is he going to play at a high level for 5, 6, 7 years? Maybe not. But if you can get 4 years out of him, 3 years out of him at a real high pace, I mean, really, that's about the NFL average for most draft picks. We all love to believe that every draft pick is going to play for 15 years, but I think we all know that just doesn't happen. What the Lions have done in 3 years with the draft, though, that's really just the outlier there. That's not the norm. All right, Anthony, an all-person raised so loving and wouldn't hurt a flea, and there you go. We have 2 and 4 cats, and they all get along. All right, Patrick, I had the pleasure of meeting both Coach Fonts and Barry Sanders when I installed satellite systems over by the Pontiac Silverdome. They both are very down-to-earth people. Yeah, I only got to interview Sanders a few times. Fonts, I had a few, and then as I got to know him a little bit, the fact that we both coached in different levels, obviously at that point. But yeah, he was pretty open and honest. Gave some coaching advice and thoughts. Always enjoyed the dude, and he was a crack up, man. That dude told jokes left and right. Broski, Anthony, that's cool. All right, Michael, you're turning 52 this year. Is the Fountain of Youth a Mountain Dew machine? It might be, man. But yeah, I swear by half diet, half regular Mountain Dew, and yes, I will be 52 this year. So yeah, started journalism. Gosh, I don't know, when I was 16, I think is when I started. So it's been a ride, man. 313. I think Detroit should get a wide receiver, cornerback, defensive end, and a tight end. They might hit all those spots. I mean, if you use the past as your outline to predict the future, Brad Holmes enjoys drafting a little bit of every position throughout the draft. There's only been a couple times where I thought maybe try to overdraft a particular position. But then again, when it's a position in need where you feel like you don't have much depth, that does make some sense. Bit Lady from Broski, you're so smart. Yeah, Bit Lady is pretty on top of stuff. Anthony, thank you, Mr. Broski. There you go. As Gray, what do you got? Good morning to the Best Lion Show. Thanks for that, Gray. Thanks very much for that. Hopefully having a great morning. Boo, we lost a great DL coach last year. Hopefully the new one, Williams, fits better than the last. There you go. Steve, John Tierlink, yes, was the D-line coach. Yep, Tierlink, or whatever, how you want to pronounce it. But yeah, he was uber aggressive, and it showed when we played against him, and then when we got him. The downside was just there wasn't a lot of gap integrity. So teams, when they hit the runs, they hit for some chunk yards. So if we go back to that, something similar to that, you really have belief that your second level of the defense can hold up on a consistent basis. Yeah, thanks for that, guys. Patrick, the more opposing teams gripe about our defense, the better I like it. Yeah, you have to, because if they're complaining, that means you're probably doing something right. And yeah, I knew you were going with that. Yeah. And Anthony, we are really need to address our third quarter play dumpster. Yeah, fire. Hopefully they do that, because if you figure that out, you have more sustainable offense throughout the entire game for 4 quarters. Yeah, that would be very advantageous. Hookadoo, it's easy for people to say why the fourth down plays, but we had a choice, an unreliable kicker or go for it. That's could also be a part of it. And I get, was it like a week or two after the NFC title game, MCDC kind of really broke down what his thoughts were. He thought the defense was starting to struggle more and more against the 49ers. He knew he had some guys that were really banged up. So he wanted on the fourth down, go for it. It's something they'd done throughout the season. They get the first down. The play, let's be fair, the plays were there. Unfortunately, you got a drop on one, and Goff got flushed out a little bit more and couldn't quite hit. I want to say it was St. Brown on the other one. But if you just get the Josh Reynolds catch, you're probably taking another 2-3 minutes off the clock. And I'm going off memory, so don't hold me to it. But I want to say there were 7 minutes left when we failed the fourth down. If you get the fourth down, let's say I'm right, you take, 2.5 minutes off. We'll just say there's 4 minutes left in the third. Even if you only get a field goal at that point, you're up 17. And you know what? The 49ers probably have to start forcing it a little bit and becoming a lot more one-dimensional on offense. But you didn't get it, so now you open up the debate, hey, should you have gone for it? Should you not, etc. Dan, what do you got? Lions are going for the moon, exclamation points. Let's go. Whoop! There you go. Dr. Detroit, good teams pick up talent. They all do. Yeah, good teams, you keep getting better. In the Lions, let's look at this. I mean, there's some holes on the team, or some spots we should say that aren't as strong as others. So they're not far off. If they just make it so those less than strong aspects of the team are a little bit stronger, the secondary, defensive line, or whatever, and now you add another strong draft class to it, you've got a pretty complete team here in Detroit, and trying to be as fair as possible. You got depth at quarterback, running back, tight end, wide receiver. I do think they need more depth on the offensive line and defensive lines. Probably the linebacker, or no, not linebacker, or cornerback spot. You, depending on what you do with free agency or whatever, you might have to add a little bit more to the safety room, but you get it. It wouldn't take a whole lot to build this up a bit. Detroit, what'll do? It's his choice to have a crap luck, so it comes back to him. Yep, there we go. Burger time. It was Hank Burlow. All right. Bit lady, broski, glad you're here. As I mentioned in previous days prior, if Chicago plays their cards right in free agency in the draft, with respect to the quarterback situation, things can dramatically change there. Yeah, and they were improving last year as a team, 100%. So now if you can add some more talent in both free agency and the draft, yeah, that they could be pretty dang good. Detroit, yeah, crap kicker, fair enough. Detroit D, I agree, bit lady. We can easily find ourselves third in the North. Yeah, and it's going to be a dogfight, man. We've been talking about it. And Minnesota's still the unknown, because what they do at quarterback with the rest of the team, it could be a 4-team fight. I think most people are going to say it's going to come down to probably Green Bay, Chicago, or Detroit for the North, and probably for the next few years. Graham, Dan, are you going to the draft? I guess I got to find out from Mike if we're still doing this panel there or not. If not, then I would like to try to maybe set something up at least on one of the nights where maybe we can do like a Lions tailgate and hang out. I guess that would probably be Thursday night would be the more ideal one, but let me see what I can find out. Gray, what do you got? Lions might just go after Lattimore, draft and corner in the second, DE at 29, and possible guard and corner in the third. I think that would be a fairly ideal lineup. And to your point, so a defensive end would probably make a lot more sense the more I look at the draft. We talked about it a little bit yesterday, where if you look at the differences between the number one guard that's probably going to be available at 29 and what you could get of similar quality in the second round, I don't think there is a huge difference. But at defensive end, I think there's a debate to be made there that would be vastly different at defensive end or cornerback. All right, guys, it's been over an hour. I got to go ahead and get ready for work and all that fun stuff for the day, so I got to cut it off here. If you haven't yet subscribed to Lions Talk Live, please consider doing so. Trying to make that push to get to 6,000. We're about 60 subs away. If you like today's video, please hit that thumbs up button. If there's some breaking news later today, I'll try to get on the mic as fast as possible. Otherwise, take care. Hope you all have a great day, and we'll see you on the next Lions Talk Live. Take care, everybody.